guys know how hard it was to find information on this movie? Not only because nobody has seen it, but because if you Google Robin Williams Seize the Day, this movie is not even the top result. I'm sure that you know. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and my ongoing quest to review every single movie that Robin Williams has ever appeared in. Today we are looking at the 1986 television film Seize the Day, Robin's third film that came out in the year 1986. It was directed by multiple-time Emmy nominee and winner Fielder Cook. It also stars Jerry motherfucking Stiller. My dude, my man, my Mr. Pinky from Hairspray. William Hickey, who plays Uncle fucking Lewis in Christmas Vacation, and also is the voice of the Doctor in Nightmare Before Christmas. He's in this for like a scene. This movie stars Robin Williams as Tommy Wilhelm, a failed actor turned salesman that loses his job and then his whole life kind of starts to go downhill, which is like, why are all of these early 80s Robin Williams movies about his character like losing his job and then going through a crisis and ending up a broken man at the end? But this one's not a comedy, that's the only difference. It's basically about this guy who loses his job, so he goes to New York City to find another one. His father's disappointed in him, has been his whole life, and he meets up with this guy whose name I forget, that's played by Jerry Stiller, who convinces him to get into stocks, and it's only an hour and a half, so not a whole lot happens, but I still feel like more should have happened. I think this movie has some parts that are very, very good. Out of the three 1986 films, it probably is the best, but it's not the best made. This was really the last movie that Robin could do, not because it like paid well or because it would advance his career, but because he wanted to. It was made for a $1.6 million budget, with a grant from the National Endowment for Humanities, could not even afford to stop filming when New York City was hit by a hurricane, and this movie looks like shit. There's audio pops, like the frames look bad. There's apparently several goofs where the movie's set in 1956, I think, and you can see like multiple 80s makes and models of cars on the road. Robin's management actually blocked this film from theatrical release because it wasn't a comedy, but it also got blocked from theatrical release because it looked so cheap. And after his track record had been going, people were kind of convinced that Robin Williams was not a star vehicle and that they could not release a movie that said starring Robin Williams and people would not come. But that's why this movie didn't get a theatrical release. Robin chose the film because it gave him a place to work out unresolved emotional conflicts with his own father. He said, "I think there's that incredible feeling that when you tap into those things, you really appreciate life when you finish a really cathartic scene, when you examine a relationship and then look at your own life." This was also the performance that got Jerry Stiller cast on Seinfeld. This is obviously just a straight up drama, there's not really any funny bits to it at all. Also, the tagline for this is "Losers aren't born, they're made." Whoa, that's very off-putting. There's no build up to this guy's life going downhill. We just get thrown immediately into him losing his job, and then he's in the car with his girlfriend and they just have an exposition spewing scene about everything else that's wrong in his life, like how his dad doesn't love him and he's divorced, and then we'll just get random flashbacks as well, and there's a lot of internal mental voiceover as well from Robin's character to give us all this. The backstory delivery was very not good. I was not into this movie at all until I saw Jerry Stiller. The second I saw him, my brain lit up like a Christmas tree. The scenes with Robin and Jerry Stiller are all great, and the scenes between Robin and the actor who plays his father are all very good as well. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm not speaking from personal experience because my parents do watch these, but these scenes do convey the pain of like knowing that a parent is disappointed in you, and the parent like kind of twisting their words and lying to their friends so that they don't have to tell them, oh, he's an actor who isn't booking any work. And the scenes between Robin and his father as well, when that dynamic kind of starts to unravel and he's like, why do you feel this way about me? Why won't you help me? Those scenes are all very good, but there are a lot of dramatic scenes as well that are literally just Robin sniveling and crying, especially the end, which is a very poor ending, but we'll get to that. But again, this movie is an hour and a half and like everything else in between kind of feels like crap. And the scenes where it's just Robin alone unraveling are like really hard to watch. I'm actually having a very difficult time with the current trend in horror movies being like this ultra realistic portrayal of grief in like every movie. So I don't know, it was just weird for me to watch. Spoilers. But the ending is just like the pinnacle of whininess. So like Jerry Stiller's character convinces him to get into the stock market. He does. Something happens where he doesn't have money, he loses his money. He runs to his dad and is like, help me, and his dad is like, no. And he's running all over town trying to find Jerry Stiller's character and crying. and he bursts into this like Orthodox Jewish funeral completely by accident. So he starts pretending like he's a guest at this funeral because he followed this guy who looked like Jerry Stiller in there, and then he just starts sobbing openly, and all the other people at the funeral are like, oh, that must be the cousin, like, yikes, why is he doing that? And then it just ends. So there's like no closure. I mean, I love a bleak ending just as much as the next person, but there's a difference between a bleak ending and an ending that is bad. I didn't care for the majority of this movie, but the parts that were good were really good. Not a lot of people saw it. If your own movie is not even the top result when you search for it because of a quote from a different movie by the same actor, like, I don't know. The New York Times called it a miscasting fiasco and said that there was no drama, and they said that Robin was hard to watch. I don't think it was miscast. I think all the actors did a good job. I just think that it's a movie with more weak spots than strong spots. It's not that interesting, but the good scenes are good. Just Robin Williams and Jerry Stiller together was Serotonin City in a couple of these scenes. Even though Jerry Stiller's character is kind of a bad guy who was like pushing him to do stuff he shouldn't want to do, I also couldn't even wholly feel bad for Robin's character either, because he is actively making these decisions that are ruining him. He is actively spending money he knows he doesn't have. So neither one of them are like in the right. But the scenes that they're just like hanging out and laughing, like, those are great scenes. So if you're interested in watching it, you can rent it on Prime. The full movie, I believe, is also available in a YouTube rip. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but next week I am finally getting to the one, the only, Good Morning Vietnam. I am doing that is my first Robin Williams explosive movie. I'm so excited. I haven't seen it in so long, and it'll be my first guest appearance, so definitely make sure you come back for that. Please like this video, please subscribe to my channel if you have not done those things already. Don't forget to check out my stuff that is in the description. I have a special announcement from Time Machine Podcast dropping in the new year. I'm smiling forced because I can't believe that a whole year has passed and I have just withered away. Starting the series is probably the thing I'm most excited about in 2020 and going into 2021. I'm really stoked to be doing this, happy to be here, happy that at least like 10 people are watching it a week. Tell your friends. We're about to start getting into the good movies, so this should get a little bit more interesting. Anyways, until then, I will see you next time. I'm very hungry, so I'm losing my train of thought.